To make a fantasy shoe, you will need a sole cutter, a heel mould and a suitable support. Bend a piece of wire mesh or use a styrofoam or polystyrene foam. Alternatively, make one from foil. Whichever you choose, check to see that the support is the same height as the heel mould. Roll out some flour paste and cut out a sole. Do not make your paste too thin. It needs enough body to hold its shape. Remove the paste from the cutter and smooth all around the edges. Place your heel support on top of a sheet of foil and then place the back of the sole onto the support, letting the toe rest on the sheet of foil. Make sure that the sole rests at a suitable angle before securing by inserting a dressmaker's pin through the sole and into the foil support. Roll some paste into a sausage and press into the cavity. Rest the heel mould on a piece of soft foam so it can be supported when the excess is removed. Skim away the excess paste using a scraper from the middle to each end. Keep the scraper at a low angle. Smooth the cut surface with your finger. Use a sharp pointed tool to lift the heel from the mould. Repeat so you have two pieces. Use a little edible glue to bond the two heel halves together. Align carefully and smooth the joins using your fingers. You may also find it useful to use a Dresden tool or silicone shaper. Set aside to dry. Press some flour paste into the smallest curved lattice cavity. Add a little more paste if required. Press down firmly so that it fills the cavity, and use a smear of vegetable fat so your fingers do not stick to the paste. Use a fine edge scraper held at a low angle to remove the excess. Work from the middle of the cavity out towards each end, turning as appropriate. Refer to our video on how to use CelCrafts lattice for further hints and tips. Smooth with your finger. Use a sharp point to remove. You will also need one heart shape. Pipe around the back of the shoe with softened icing. Place the curved lattice in place and bring it around in line with the curve of the shoe back. Make sure that the sides align evenly. Use a Dresden tool to make sure it is well attached and will dry secure. Use a craft knife to trim away the point of the lattice heart. You will need a small piece of styrofoam or crumpled foil, etc. to use as a former while it dries. Place the heart over your former and ease the sides of the heart with your fingers so the paste moulds around it. Sit it on top of the sole so that you can make sure it is the correct shape before sitting on one side to dry. Use a suitable tool to stretch the paste where required. Pipe some softened icing around the edge of the toe section. Remove the dried upper from its former and place it onto the piping. Use a brush or Dresden tool to smooth the softened icing beneath the upper. If required, add a small row of piped beading around the outside edges of the lattice work. Check the height of the heel is correct from the shoe you have made. Using a sharp knife, trim a piece of paste from the top of the heel to make it slanted. Check that it rests okay on the heel before piping some softened icing onto the top and pressing it into place. Once again, pipe with a small bead around any joins and complete as appropriate with a flower or a bow.